Hey there, Soul Shines. My name is Michelle, and today we are doing a tutorial. It's been a while since I did a tutorial. It's probably been 6 months since I did one. It was in December the last time I did a tutorial, so I'm really excited to have another one for you. Today we're going to talk about bag straps. One of the most important things I want to tell you about making a strap for a bag, no matter what stitch you use. When you measure the bag, you're like, oh, I want it to be the strap. Maybe you want to do a crossbody and you want it to be so long, so you measure that spot. And then what we tend to do, and I have done this, is we decide, oh, well, I will just crochet until it's that long. And so we do it, and then we start putting stuff in our bag, and all of a sudden we're wearing a bag that's supposed to be sitting on our hip, sitting down at our knees. The trick to that is, no matter what stitch you're doing, is measure it. When you're measuring it, measure it when it's stretched. You want it to match that length when it's stretched. Now, I do have a cell phone case. I didn't have to worry as much about that because my cell phone doesn't weigh a lot, so it doesn't stretch down the back too much. But if I started putting other things in there that were a little heavier, say I was like, I'm gonna put my keys on there and my cell phone in there and maybe a lit chapstick or whatever, it starts getting heavier and then it starts going a little bit farther. So even then, you wanna kind of have, kind of see how much it's gonna stretch and take that into account. The heavier it is, the more it's gonna stretch. So it's just really important that we actually measure it to be the length that we want when it's already stretched out. And so I'm going to show you some little pieces. I have, oh, nope, I don't have them close by. I've done a little short things that I'm gonna show you, kind of compare some stretching with those, and then I'm going to teach you how to do, I think 3 stitches is what I've done. I'd have to double check. There's the thermal stitch, just a single crochet thermal stitch. There are other versions of the thermal stitch that I have not taught today, but I'm teach you the thermal stitch. There are always chapters below on my tutorials, so you can check that out. There's usually chapters on everything I do. I've got a linked double crochet tutorial for you because it does help a lot with stretch, and then my own pattern stitch that may exist somewhere, but I decided to play around with it, made it up to work with my daughter's bag, and I'm supposed to be calling them linked shell stitches. So I will be teaching you all 3 of those in this tutorial. Again, links below, but start with watching the different stretches so you can get an idea of why it's really important to measure your bag stretched out. Hopefully this setup works. I'm trying a new setup. I have a bunch of things here. What I have here is, and I don't think you'll see them all on the screen, but I have here a whole bunch of ideas for straps, and there are definitely more. Some of them I will give a tutorial on. You can follow the chapters below, and others of them I'm just gonna kind of tell you what they are and guide you to a thing if you want it. I also have a tape measure here. Some will look really similar, so I think this is single crochets. It looks like single crochets to me, but some, like I said, some of them are similar. So I tried to make them all about 6 inches long. Obviously this is a little bit longer, but I wanted to kind of show you how much it stretches. So that's stretching like 3 inches for every 6 inches. This is what it's gonna do when it's on a bag. It's just gonna stretch out like that. But notice what else. We go from about 1.5 inches to 1 inch when it's all stretched out. Now this is a challenge. I made a bag, and I love my bag, but I didn't know that you're supposed to measure it, the strap stretched when I made it, and I didn't know that it went skinnier. Like, I knew it stretched, but I didn't realize that it stretched skinny. And so my bag size, or my strap size, probably started out as an inch when it's all made, and so then it scrunched down to like a 1/2 inch, and it cuts into my shoulder, and so I had to do a little workaround for that. And so it's important to consider not only that it stretches this way, but that it stretches this way. And so for this, I just I did a chain of 6 and then did 5 single crochets back and forth till I got to the length I wanted. And like I said, remember that it does stretching both ways. Okay, so it's pretty simple, but probably not the ideal for it. Now this one here is single crochets that I did the other way. So again, this one ended up being 7 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make it about 6 1/4. I'm going to put my finger here so it doesn't stretch there. And the stretch going this way is not as much. And also the stretch goes from about 1 1/4 to an inch. So if you did want to do single crochets, this would be a better option for the amount of stretch, because it has less stretch going this way. And so this one I did a chain for the length that I wanted, added one chain, and then worked my way back and forth on that. So those are single crochets. This is a 1/2 double crochet. Same concept, just a 1/2 double crochet, just to see how this is. So this one's 6 1/2, so I'm going to make it 6 1/4 like I did the last one. Hold the end down here so it doesn't stretch, and that stretches up to 9 inches as well, and actually probably a little bit, well, no, so that's got a good 9-inch stretch as well. So again, this is much like the single crochet in that and how much it stretches. And then right now it's 1.5 inches, and again it goes down to 1 inch when you stretch this way. And then I did the same thing, 1/2 double crochet going the other way. This again ended up being 7 inches, so if I put it down at 6 1/4, holding it down here. Let's see, this one stretches up to 8. I think that's, I don't know. I think the single crochet didn't stretch as far. And then this one is just about 1 inch, and it doesn't lose as much this way. So again, that's a 1/2 double crochet, and just like the other one, I changed however many I wanted, a couple more for to move back down the row. And those were the 1/2 double crochets. Do the double crochets. So these are double crochets. As you can tell, it already looks looser and it doesn't look as solid, which is fine if that's what you want. This is 6 inches, and if I hold it and stretch it, it goes 8 1/2-ish. That's what that is. It's like right under my hand. So it doesn't have as much stretch as the other two, but still quite a bit of stretch. And then if we're holding it this way, we've got like probably a little more than 1 1/4, and it's going down to probably 7/8, less than. So this one has a lot this way, not quite as much as the other two going that way. And then for the double crochet going long ways, this is 7 inches. Dang, I didn't do good. So kind of get it down here to approximately what the others were. Hold it here and stretch. this is stretching. The chain keeps it from going, only makes it go to 7.5, but the side that doesn't have a chain is like way stretching, which was weird, but normal. And then it doesn't lose as much of its shape this way, but that, again, that's because of the chain. So that's the double crochet, and like the other ones, you just keep working back and forth. And I do have tutorials for all 3 of those stitches, the single crochet, the half double crochet, and the double crochet, that you can find up in the iCards. I'm going to show you, it's like a linked double crochet. So when I got up to the top here, and I apologize for this looks wonky. It's kind of pretty, but not necessarily what you would want, but maybe you would. And then up here at the top, I kind of changed how I did it, but I didn't get enough to know how straight it would be. But I think how I did it up here would get you like a more straight edges on that. Okay, so again, this one, I made it 6.5, so let me move it down a little bit, hold it, and it stretches up to 9 inches that way, and it's about 1 1/4, and it stretches way down. So even this linked double crochet is stretching a lot. But I am going to come back to this and show you how to do it in case you want to do it. Let's look at the linked double crochets in a thing this way. Again, it's, for some reason my one's going this way. I did not measure well. Okay, because this is like 7 1/4 inches. So I can move it down here, hold it, stretch it. Now this direction, it does not have much stretch comparatively. So it goes up to like 7 1/4, holding it down here. So it doesn't stretch as much. This way it's a little more than 1 inch. Goes down to about 3/4 of an inch. So that is the linking double crochet. So now this is, oh shoot, what's it called? The thermal stitch. It is thicker than most crochet. It's definitely a stiffer fabric made. So I have 6 inches here, so I'll just hold this here, stretch it. It still stretches up to 8.5, so yeah, it stretches less, but only like a 1/2 inch less for the 6 inches than the single crochet did. It's just fatter. And then you've got, it's a little less than 1.5, and it goes down to 1. So it still has a lot of the same stretch. It looks really cool though. It looks like a great, looks good, but you still would have the stretch issue. And I'm going to do a tutorial on that one. And then here it is going sideways, long ways. And so it made mine almost 7 inches. So let's scoot it down to where 2 is 6 inches. Hold it about where the inch, where the tip measure starts. This one, this direction only stretches to 7 inches. So it seems like all of them, it almost seems like that would be the way, better way to go. And then it's 1 1/4, goes down to 1. So far, as far as stretch, this one would be probably my choice. And then the tutorial everybody's been waiting for. I created this one myself for my daughter's bag. I wanted a more decorative strap. So I've got this one to be 6 1/4, so I'm just going to slide it down just a tiny bit and hold it, stretch it, stretches up to 7 inches, so it's got 1 inch of stretch for there. And then size wise, its width is about almost 1.5, and when I stretch it, it's a little more than an inch. So, and this is why I'm sharing this with you guys, because I think that I came up with a very nice solution and it looks really pretty. And let me kind of hold it so you guys can really see how that looks. So it's a pretty solution and it doesn't have a lot of stretch comparatively. And even the way that it shrinks in is not nearly as much. And then if you wanted to, you could put like a little border along the sides and stuff just to make it nicer. I did it for my daughter's bag, but you could, I don't know what to call this. Maybe I'll call it linked shells. I don't know if this stitch exists. I kind of came up with it myself, but it could exist. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody made something like this. The linked double crochets, that's these ones. To start with, like everything, you're just gonna make your base chain however long you want it, and then add like 3. Okay, you're gonna come down, and in this third chain you're gonna go in just to that back loop, pull up a loop, you're gonna go into the next well, now if you can turn it over and go into the back loops if you want. Okay, and then you're gonna finish it like a double crochet, and that's our starting one. I keep wanting to go under, but I don't. You're gonna come in and you're gonna find this loop that's over here. Hopefully you guys can see that. You're gonna go in that loop, pull up a loop, you're gonna go down into your chain, or front or back, that's up to you. Pull it up, go through 2, go through 2. Now we're gonna go through, and this bar that comes across, we're gonna grab that. We are going to go into our chain, and we're gonna go through 2 and go through 2. So again, we go through this bar, and I end up holding mine, instead of working across like this like we normally do, I almost end up holding it this way to go into that space. And then go, oops, pull up a loop, and then go in to the chain and pull up a loop, and pull through 2, pull through 2. Go through that bar, pull up a loop. Go through the chain, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through the bar, pull up a loop, go into your chain, pull up a loop, or go through 2, go through 2, go in through there, that bar again, pull up a loop, go into the chain, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. Okay, go in through that bar, pull up a loop, go into your chain, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go in through the bar, pull up a loop, go in through your last chain, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. Okay. And there we have, it does kind of look like this, but it's because our chain is tighter. So maybe if you might want to do a looser chain at the bottom. Okay, we're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 3. Okay, we're going to go through that second chain, pull up a loop. Then we're going to go down in the same stitch that we're coming out of if you want it to be a straighter edge. You're going to go through 2, go through 2. Go through the bar, pull up a loop, go into your next stitch, go through 2, go through 2, go through the bar, next stitch. And you're going to keep doing this, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, I'm here. I've pulled up my first loop through that bar, and I've got, kind of here at the end, it looks like we've got two things, but I'm going to go in here, I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to pull through two, pull through two. Now if I count my rows, my stitches along the bottom, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I count the top, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So normally when you're doing double crochets, you would do in this end one, but we're kind of shifting it a little bit, so it's actually going to kind of feel like it's going up this way, and that's to help get us a straighter edge. If you don't want a straight edge, I'll show you in a second. First of all, again, you're going to go through that second hook loop and then down into the same stitch you came out of, and I'm going to go across this again just so you can get an idea of what it looks like with 3 rows on top of each other for the edge. And then I will show you how to do it if you want kind of more loopy edge, like what my display one mostly had. One of the things I like about this stitch is that you can use it for like a fabric for a sweater, and it's not going to have the holes like some things. It's just very much more solid. Okay, and again here at the end we don't keep going, so if I count I should have the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's kind of giving us a straight, so we're not doing on the end and we're not doing, so it's a little straighter. I mean, it's still curvy, but not nearly as curvy as it could be. So if you were wanting to do it the other way, chain your 3, go into that second one, pull up a loop, go in not to here but into the next one and pull through, and then go across, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I've gotten here over to here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but I needed 10. So now I'm going to go into this very last one, which is your chain from the previous row, which is awkward to get into. Well, we're just going to get it in how best we can. Okay. As you can see, it's kind of making my thing go here, and it's because this one was kind of moving up this way. Now I'm going to come in and do 3 again, and I'm going to go to that second chain. Okay, and then I'm not going to go in here, I'm going to go in here. And then I'm going to go across, doing these all the way across. Okay, and it looks like I could be done, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, nope, not done. Still got to do it in that chain. Have it to loop over, but okay, go in and try to get in that last chain. I'm not finding it easy to get into that last chain, but there you go. So that just gives you even a different edge, and it kind of does this loopy up thing like this. When I did this, this is how I did it. Most of this was this way, so I got this curvy edge. And then I realized that if I did it in that starting stitch, it gave me a more straight, solid edge. Okay, so that is a linking double. So for the thermal stitch, and let me show you again, here's this one. The thermal stitch is really awkward for the first 2 or 3 rows, but after that, smooth sailing. Smooth sailing, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to chain a few. Just do a couple more. Okay. And then I'm going to do one more for the stitch. Now, if you are doing it from a regular chain, I'm going to show you how to do it two ways. So if you're going to do it from a regular chain, you're going to go into, you're not going to go into the back loop for this one. You're going to go into your, you're going to go into your top loop. I don't like it when they call this the back loop, and I understand why, but to me it's a top loop. So you're not going to go into the the bumps on the back. You're going to go into this top loop just under there, and you'll see why in a minute. So this first row, you're just going to single crochet all the way across into those top loops. Okay, and then you're going to chain one. And so normally we would turn our work, but we're going to actually be working in the back loops, and they're much easier to see with our work kind of on an angle like this. So we're going to work into that, but then we're also going to go down and catch this loop that's on the bottom there. Now here's the important thing, we have to have as many loops on the top as we do the bottom. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, except for wait. And I know that's the first loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is our turning chain, and so we want this loop and this loop to line up. And we're going to go into here. Right here into the end, and make sure we grab that. So now we've gone through the back loop at the top and the back loop, or the other loop, which was the bottom loop from there, and we're going to pull through both of them, and then we're going to finish our single crochet. Okay, so we're going to, and this is a little awkward because we might want to go back in here, but we're not. We're going in here to the next stitch, then down into the one at the bottom, the next stitch at the bottom. Pull up, and now you've got 2 on your thing. And usually you can start turning your work more to the front, but we want to go into this stitch and make sure we're going into the next stitch at the bottom. And this, like I said, this first row is the most fiddly. Okay, we're going to go into this next loop and into this next loop. And again, we've come, here's where we loop in there. Go to the next one. Oh, I really hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Next one over here. Next one down in here. Finish our crochet. Single crochet, go down into this loop, and this one we'll pull it up, pull it up through. Nothing like getting your nails done to realize how often you use your fingernails. Finish the single crochet. Okay, so that was the first row. So we chain 1, and again, if we turned our work, we would be working in the back loop. So we're going to go through that loop, and then we're going to go down and go into this loop that's down here from the row below. Pull them both up through and finish it as a single crochet. Not into here, because that's where we came out of. We're going to go into the next space. Go into the next bottom chain thingy, back loop, front loop, because it's the front loop from the row below. Go into this one, down to the next one down here, and then again you're going to go into that one, and only just this one that kind of does at the top. Next one and next one, and it starts getting easier. They start getting by each other. Okay. Down in here. And then back loop and that loop, and they end up being pretty close together here at the end. And that is that round. Okay, or row, sorry. And so you're going to keep doing that, making sure it gets a little, like I said, it's a little easier to tell where you need to go. You're going to go into this one. The important thing is to watch, you can see where you come out of that one, so you don't want to go into that one, you want to go into the next set. And that's one of the important things at the beginning of each row, making sure you're going into the right stitches. Once you get past 2 or 3 stitches, it's super easy to see where you need to go next. Start getting into the rhythm of it. So I'm coming out of here, so I need to go in. No, that's where I'm coming out of. Getting to go in there and finish off my stitch and go into there, and like I said, that last one, they end up right next to each other. Okay, so you'd keep doing that until you get it as long as you want with 1 row to go. So let's finish this off. We're gonna chain 1. This time, because this is our last row, we're gonna go in through both loops at the top and grab the loop at the bottom. Now here's the reason why. Right now, on this side, it's all very smooth. Let me bring this back. You can see it's just very smooth. The little bumps are inside, but at the top of this one, you've got this ridge. So if we just ended this off, we would have a ridge right here. But what we do instead is we're going to go under both of the loops, both these, and down into that one. Bring it up through and do your single crochet. Go through both of the V's, go down and grab the loop from below. Go through all 3 and then you finish your single crochet. Go through both of the V's, grab that bar from below, finish your single crochet. Under both V's, grab that bar from below, pull it up through, finish your single crochet. Under both V's, grab the bar from below, pull up through all 3, finish your single crochet. And 2 more. Let's see, go through both of those and that bar, pull it up, single crochet, go through both of those. What do we have going on here? End stitches are kind of funny, so we're going to go through both and grab that bar below, and then you can tie off your edge, and it's a lot smoother of an edging there. Okay, so that's how you would do that. But I told you I wanted to show you a different way to start it. Foundation cord, I believe is what it's called. We have foundation single crochets, foundation half doubles, half foundation double crochets, and I haven't made tutorials on those, but I plan to. This one here is a foundation cord. It's kind of like an I-cord, and you're gonna have a tail that's longer. You could also call it a long tail crochet or something, I don't know. You want it to be probably, I don't know, like 2.5 this length that you want it. So if we want it to be, like, say wide, we'd go here and here. So I'm probably gonna do like 3 times how I want it to be. We're gonna do our knot. Okay, we're gonna have our working yarn to the back, our tail to the front. And I'm turn my hook or my knot just so it makes it easier to keep those. Okay, now we're gonna wrap the tail yarn over towards from the front to the back. Then we're gonna yarn under just like we normally would with the chain, and we're gonna pull through both of those. Now we're gonna take our tail and go from the front over the back. We're gonna yarn over like we normally would, go through both of those. We're gonna go take our yarn over, and you're gonna go until you've got as many stitches as you want. So say we want it to be 7. Right now I've done 2. I'm doing my 3rd. Yarn over the tail from the front to the back, yarn over and pull through, yarn over tail from the front to the back, yarn over, pull through, tail over, pull through, and we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need one more. Okay, that's how many I want to do. I could keep going a little bit more because I have some more, but I don't need to. And now, instead of going one more time, we're actually going to chain 1, and we are ready to start. So now we have back loops. So we're going to go in our back loop and our loop from below, because we ended up with this little thing where it's got 2 sets of V's here. And it's not a cord because the cord looks like V's all the way around, but it's like a half a cord. Got as wide as I want, and then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to say, here's my V's, and I go through this one so that I leave out this V. And I'm going to go through this one. And I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to single crochet through them. Now this is where it's coming out, so I go in here and pull up, and I'm leaving this little edge right here that we'll use the next. So then I can just start, now that I know what I'm doing, I can just go through across, and it's like kind of going in the top of single crochets because the V's are right next to each other. I'm leaving this little edge here. And which, by the way, that makes for a very lovely thing that you could use instead of doing chains at the bottom, because it leaves you a very lovely edge here at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, and I'm going to go through this one and the loop that we left at the bottom. And then do a single crochet. Coming out there, so I'm going to go this one and the loop we left at the bottom. And it's coming out there, so I'm going to go through this one and the loop we left at the bottom, all the way across. The last one. And then you would just continue like you would before, up across. Now here's a thought. So I was just doing this. If you wanted to do a strap like this and you've started, maybe you just want a thin strap and you've got this, you could probably just go through this and do your chain. Another thought is go through this, go through all of that, pull all the way through, and pull all the way through like you're doing a slip stitch down. So that would change your look. This is what I like about crochet, is you can play with things as much as you like, and you can just get a different look. And so this would be like you're finishing, but instead of doing single crochets at the top, I'm slip stitching across. And that gives us that. It's a little less of an edge as the, let me show you. Single crochet, pull it up, single crochet. Gives this a much more obvious that it goes up. This would kind of almost be less noticeable if you just wanted a thin edge. So you could slip stitch across it, you can single crochet across it. Another thing that I was thinking you could do. So another thing you can do is cut off a length of thread. Oh, I guess I should pull it through. Pull it through as if you're fastening off. And this is, I didn't finish, this has got that edge there. What I'm gonna do is another, so finishing off that last row, you can single crochet across. Through those loops you can slip stitch across, which gave a nice little edge. And then here I've pulled it off. I'm going to go through both of the loops and come down and grab that bar that we would normally crochet in, and I'm going to pull all of it. And then I'm going to come over here and go through the next loops, go and pull that crochet or that other bar, and I'm going to sew it off like this, just for a different look. And I will explain why. So I'm going through the V, both V's, and then that bar that we would normally crochet into with this stitch. Going through both of those V's. So this is 3 ways to finish this off. With the yarn, with a needle, with slip stitch, or with single crochets. And then go through this last one. Okay. So then that one, you can't even tell which side because it just almost looks. And if you wanted to make a thinner strap for something, this actually would be a really cute one. And there's like hardly any stretch there. So this would be a great little, but like I said, the thermal stitch didn't stretch. It stretched a lot more this way than it did this way. And so this one would make a cute little strap. You go 2 or 3 rows this way and then tie it off like that, and it would look lovely. So that is an option for a strap as well. Got a new setup we're trying. It's been a couple days because life got in the way of me continuing to record. So we are going to chain, and I'm going to start out by teaching you how to do it in a single column that would be a strap, but you can use the same thing for multiple things. So the first thing we're going to do is chain 7. This is if you just want a single column for a strap. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet in the 5th chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can go in the this top loop here, or you can go in the back bump, but you're going to do a double crochet, and I'm just going to do it in the back bump. And I'm going to put my glasses down up from the top of my head to my eyes. Okay, so you're just going to do a regular double crochet. Chains, double crochets, basic stitches, again, are going to be up in the iCard so that you can look for that. Okay, now instead of looping over and doing another double crochet, we're going to do the linked double crochet. So we're going to go in here, pull up a loop. We're going to go in the very bottom again in that same spot and pull up a loop. and we're going to pull through 2 and pull through 2. We're going to do that one more time. So we're going to go in through our loop there, and then we're going to go down in through that same chain, and we're going to pull through and go through 2 and go through 2. So this is now a linked shell, and then we're going to do a double crochet in our last chain. So we've skipped one. Okay, now we're going to turn our work, and we're going to only chain 2. Normally you would chain 3 when doing double crochets, but I find that because of the next part of the technique, it's a little easier if it's a chain 2. So we're going to do a double crochet, but instead of going in here like we normally would in the center of the thing, we're actually going to come down and kind of find a spot in the center of the bottom part of the stitch. Just kind of try to center it in this thing and then do our double crochet there. So it's centered in the middle stitch down below. Now we're going to do a linked double and going down in that same spot. And again, another linked double going like that, down in that center spot. So we made a linked shell on top of it, and then we're going to do a double crochet, so we're going to skip this stitch here. We're going to do it on the top of the chain over here. Okay, we're going to turn our work and chain 2. And then again, we're going to do a double crochet, but we're also going to come over here and we're going to go, so we've got this stitch, we've got this stitch and this stitch that make up our shell. We're going to go in the middle of this one underneath. So you have this bar here, we're going to go underneath that, kind of in between the 2 bar lines that come down. We're going to go in there, pull up and do our double crochet and do a linked double, and again a linked double into the same spot, and we're going to skip this stitch and do a double crochet in the top of the chain, and then we're going to turn our work and chain 2 again. And then I'm going to show you this one more time, and then I'm going to take this out and show you how you would do it if you wanted to have a few side by side. So you're going to come down underneath that bar and between, so we skip this stitch, we go to the second stitch, under that bar, kind of down between, underneath there, do our double crochet, and then again to do the linked one, we're going to go underneath this bar, pull up a yarn, go in that same spot we went into, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. We're going to repeat that underneath that bar, pull up a loop, go down in the center, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, skip the next stitch, do a double crochet in the chain. And you are just going to repeat that until you get the length that you want. And again, remember, like right now this doesn't seem to do any stretch, but there's just a little bit. So remember to, as you get kind of closer to what you want, start stretching it just to see, because we always measure when it's stretched. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. The thing you're going to do is you're going to make a chain in multiples of 4 plus 3. So you're going to chain your 4, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do 3 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 15, or plus 3 is 15. 1, 2, 3. So I should have 15 chains. Okay, and we're going to do our double crochet, and we're in the 5th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top or back loop, doesn't matter. I'm going to go in this one just because it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit faster. You're going to do your double crochet, and now you've got your little space here, and we're going to start right into our linked doubles, going in, and we're going to do that linked cluster, that linked shell right here with the 3 linked stitches, and then we're going to skip 1 stitch, and do a double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and we're going to skip one stitch and we're going to do a linked shell in the next stitch with our double crochet, then a linked double, and a linked double. Okay, and we're going to skip one stitch and do double crochet in the next chain. And then we're going to skip one stitch and we're going to do a double crochet in the next chain, and then we're going to do 2 linked doubles to make our shell in that same place. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the last chain. And you can do as many of these as you want. Just remember, sets of 4, multiples of 4 plus 3. So you can go, if you wanted, like, say 7 of these, you do 7 times 4 is 28 plus 3. So you would just get a chain, was that 32? Is that 28, 29, 30, 31? You do 31. I knew something was off with my math. Okay, so that's our first. We've got 3 little clusters. Gonna turn our work, chain 2. We're gonna do a double crochet again. We're gonna go into that center. We're gonna go underneath this bar. So we've got our top, which is our V right there. We're gonna go under the bar, kind of try to get in center of that stitch as best as you can. Do your double crochet and then do your linked double crochet and your last linked double crochet to make that linked shell, or that linked shell. Then you're going to do a double crochet in the top of your double crochet from the previous row, and then you're going to do a double crochet and the next one in the center stitch underneath that bar. And you do your linked double in that same spot. And then one more linked double. And then you're going to do a double crochet in the top of the next double crochet. And then a linked shell in the center of this stitch. Shell here. And then you're going to do a double crochet in the top of your chain. Your turning chain there. So then you start getting these linked shells that go up on top of each other with this bar in the middle. You can decide, say I want 3 clusters. I will do 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 5, so that's 14. Or you can do, if you don't care how many clusters there are and you just want to go a certain length, then you would do groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe I say, oh, I think I want mine to be about that long, plus 2. So you have 2 ways to do that. You can either do sets of 3 chains, multiples of 3 plus 2, or you can do multiples of 3 plus 5 if you know how many shells you want across the top, or yeah, across. Okay, so then you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do your shell in that 5th chain, just like normal, a little linked shell. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and do into the next one. I'm going to teach you a little bit about how you know how many shells or how many chains to skip. basically, when you are doing this, you are keeping the same amount of stitches across. So each shell pulls in a stitch on each side. So we have 1, 2, 3 stitches in there. So when we're counting, we need the stitch plus 2 more to make up for these 2. And then we need a stitch and 2 more to make up, so that we keep the stitch count even on the top as the bottom. I hope that makes sense. Again, you're going to skip 2 chains, do your shell in the next one. Do your last stitch of your shell, and then you're going to double crochet in the very last stitch. And then you're going to turn your work, chain 2, and then you're going to double crochet just like before in the middle of your shell. And then you're going to do your linked shell, and you're going to do a double crochet in the middle of the next shell. And just finish up with your linked shell. I mean, cluster's not wrong. Clusters are usually the upside down shells where you're gathering, though. But it really is just like a cluster of stitches, so. And you just keep working across in the center of your shells, doing more shells. And the last one here. I'm going to show you a little bit something else in case you want to change things up and have it look a little bit different, but still have these linked clusters. Okay, double crochet in the chain, the top of the turning chain. Now turn your work, and to continue doing it where it's these extra linked sturdy shells, you would chain 2, but we're going to chain 3 now because I'm going to show you what else you can do. You're going to go in, and instead of going down into the middle, just do your cluster in the top of that and do your linked cluster there. This is going to have a little bit more stretch, but you may like the look of it better. And then you're going to skip 2 stitches, go on the top of the middle of the next cluster, do your linked cluster there, and skip your 2 stitches and go into the top of your next cluster, do your linked cluster in there. Linked shell, why do I keep calling them that? Linked shell, it's a linked shell. Like my name is Michele, it's a linked shell. Double crochet in the top of that cluster. Shell. Seriously, people. Probably need to drink my water. And then double crochet in the top of that turning chain. So if you wanted to have it be, I feel like it got off there and I'm not in the center of those clusters, but you could have it be up. So as you can see, it kind of stretches out a little bit where that goes in there. So there's a little bit more stretch, but it looks a little bit more like a regular shell. That way you can really put these linked doubles in almost anywhere that you use a double crochet. If you want it to be a little more sturdy, maybe a little less see-through if you're making a blouse or something. So that is the linked shells that I came up with to do the strap. So I just did one column of linked shells going up for the strap, and Cheyenne loves it. It matches right in because her bag, I'll put a picture of the bag up in here, because it was basically a granny square, and so doing a handle that was just this going up just was perfect fit for the bag. I hope you learned a lot from this video. Let me know what your favorite stitch for a bag is going to be. If you decide to try it out for a bag, especially the linked shell that I showed you, please let me know. Tag me on Instagram in a bag, or even if you have a YouTube channel and you want to tag me, that would be awesome. I'm pretty sure my hashtag is the same. I do have hashtag @tag, I don't know what we would call that, but So Magical Michele in YouTube, and it's spelled with one L, and I'm pretty sure it's So Magical Michele on Instagram as well, but I do have that information below in the description box, and would love to see what you're making. So please feel free to tag me in any of those places. I would love to see it, and especially if you use my shell stitch, but I like to see what everybody makes, so please let me know. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you like my content, and happy crocheting. Remember to let your light shine through your creations, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!